In order to understand the context and meaning of a work of art, we begin with a few questions. What is it? Who made it and for whom? When was it made? And how was it made? These questions will get the ball rolling on our investigation that lead us to a work's content and intention. Reading a work of art is like having a conversation. The more you ask, the more it will tell you. Let's find out more about how to understand the context and meaning of a work of art.
Well, the first thing I want to know is what it is, what it's made out of. I want to know what media it is. I want to get a sense of its scale. I, especially in relationship to me physically, is it bigger than me? Is it tiny? Is it on a video monitor? Is it inside a book? How hard is it for me to access it? Really want to understand my physical experience of the formal components. Then I'll start asking questions. I want to know who made it. That's really important. If it's something that's been recently made, is it a person that I'm familiar with? Am I familiar with this person's work? If I am familiar, is it a new work for that person? Is it a departure? Or is it in keeping with the themes that they regularly engage? If it's somebody that I'm not familiar with, I'll start researching. I'll ask questions. I'll see if there's written support material. I can find out, is this person American, from another country? What are they concerned with? Is the work meant sincerely? Is it ironic? And often if it's a single work, it's difficult to get a very big picture, right? And I need other information. Even though I have a good sense of the work formally, I really need context. Well, I would need to do some research and look into the circumstances that the artwork was being produced, look at the context, look at what other kinds of work were being made, what is the work in opposition to or countering in some way. It says each place that exhibits work, a gallery, a museum, has a particular perspective, and it's going to shape my experience, my understanding of that work. So it's hard for work to be insular. It's hard for artwork to communicate in an insular fashion. It needs to be connected to institutions, to social bodies, to certain schools of thought. But I'm thinking about the work of Felix Gonzalez Torres, who does stacks of printed matter, stacks of candy that have very specific references, both personal and political references. And the stacks of these printed matter or candy are displayed with the purpose of being given out for free. So if you come into the museum, you are permitted to actually take a piece of candy. His work brings up a lot of questions about authenticity and originality. So he's responding very directly to a writer, Walter Benjamin, who wrote a really important essay in 1936 called Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction, where he discussed how the ability to reproduce things destroys the aura. The aura is this kind of, authenticity might be another word to use for it. So for Benjamin, he saw this liberating potential in being able to reproduce lots of things that you could disseminate so that everybody could have access to them. But he also brought up the issue of what we were losing. And Felix Gonzalez Torres was really playing with that idea in a very provocative way, because in his stacks there is no original. It's only reproduction, and it's reproduction that's always being replenished, but it has to be a very certain size and weight, physical size and weight, for it to convey the meaning that he wants it to convey. So, and he was arguing through his work that that the aura was still intact, even though it was the loss was always being played out.
Right.
The meaning and the aura were still there, even though these were works that could have been done by a machine anywhere, by anyone. There was no skill or craft involved. So, in order to really flesh out and understand what Gonzalez is presenting in his work, the meaning of it, to get the really full range of meaning in his work, besides looking at the work, examining it, and just being able to describe its components, you would really need to understand and research Walter Benjamin, his ideas, and how Gonzalez Torres is in the sense that he's in a discussion with him.
Studying art is a process of learning, discovering, and exploring. Here are some resources to get you started.